Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Parts Talk. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Now today's video we're going to be talking about Volkswagen is to build a multi-billion-dollar factory, EV battery plant that is in my hometown province here in Ontario. But before we get into this video, and I want you to stay tuned, is to please hit that like and subscribe button so I can get a boost in the algo. I will really appreciate it. So in a small city here in southwestern Ontario, massive space is to be transformed into a Volkswagen plant that will make batteries for electric vehicles. This mega project is going to be worth billions. It's a comeback story for St. Thomas, which lost thousands of jobs in its once thriving auto sector more than a decade ago. And the project is expected to create more than 2,500 jobs, new positions that is, and thousands of spin-off jobs. We all know that once factories are there, then other small businesses will pop up in and around to support the factory. With the government of Canada and Ontario pledging support, the country is banking on its reserves of raw material to help supply VW with lithium, nickel, and cobalt, making its future electric vehicles greener even as they are built. Let's get on with it.
Call it a field of dreams in southwestern Ontario. By 2027, this massive space will be transformed into a Volkswagen plant, making batteries for electric vehicles. It's a mega project worth billions, and this small city has hit the jackpot.
Well, St. Thomas is pretty proud right now being able to have that future in place.
Consider it a comeback story for St. Thomas. Its once thriving auto sector lost thousands of jobs more than a decade ago when the Sterling truck facility was shut down. Then the Ford assembly plant closed as well.
We're here today celebrating this, but this will be something that our grandchildren.
And again, this only shows the cycle that happens in the automotive industry. Every once in a while, as the technology evolves, so does the plants and so does the owners. And they have to always keep up with the times because the cost of production is the major factor why a lot of these factories actually go broke or decide to move to another location where it is more cost effective for them to stay in business.
See the spin-offs of
carbon neutral.
Now, like so many automakers, German giant Volkswagen is promoting an electric future, with EVs set to make up half of new car sales worldwide by 2035. So Canada is going big on the business of batteries.
The landscape is competitive, but we're still definitely in the game.
The governments of Canada and Ontario aren't saying how much money they're pledging, but industry officials hope the VW plant creates 2,500 new positions and thousands more spin-off jobs.
We're celebrating the largest single investment in the auto sector in the history of Canada.
The makers of GM, Ford, and Chrysler vehicles already announced future plans for Canadian facilities to produce EV batteries. The country,
and that is because the nickel, cobalt, and all the necessary raw materials are found here in Canada. Canada has a vast amount of land which has been untouched and has been preserved by nature for millions of years.
is banking on its reserves of raw materials, promising to help supply VW with lithium, nickel, and cobalt.
It's tens of thousands of pounds of rocks that go into these batteries.
Another factor that drew this auto giant to Ontario is the province's supply of clean power. So VW can promote its future electric vehicles not only as greener when they're on the road, but even as they're built. Thomas Dagg, CBC News, Toronto.
So, as I said, we're going to be looking at 5 potential benefits and 5 potential disadvantages of building the Volkswagen plant for battery production in southwestern Ontario. So, let's start off with the benefits. Now, the number one benefit I have here is job creation. Yes, the plant is expected to create 2,500 new jobs and thousands of spin-off jobs, which will boost the local economy and provide opportunities for people in the area. A lot more opportunities for entrepreneurs and small business owners to get a boost from this factory. Another thing we're looking at now is economic growth. The plant will contribute to the local economy by generating revenue, increasing exports, and attracting further investment. As you know, if the factory is there and maintaining itself, then a lot of people tend to move closer to where the work is, and that will spin off into construction of more homes and other amenities. Another benefit I have here is the province's supply of clean power to enable VW to promote its future electric vehicles as even greener, which will have a positive impact on the environment. The fourth benefit I have here is the technological innovation. The plant will support the growth of the EV industry and help advance technological innovation in the field of batteries and electric vehicles. As you know, they always say the future is electric. And the fifth benefit I have here is sustainable development. The plant will contribute to the development of a more sustainable future by producing batteries for electric vehicles that will emit less pollution and reduce carbon emissions. And that is the goal of going net zero 2050. I've been talking a lot about EVs, but the main reason why I try to emphasize on EVs now, a lot of people out there are still naive and they don't understand exactly what is going on in the industry. So the more information they have, the better it is. And I want to be one of those persons that people can rely on for the information that is available. So let's go through the benefits again. 1, job creation. 2, economic growth. 3, clean energy. 4, technological innovation. And 5, sustainable development. So the first disadvantage I have listed here is the environmental impact. So the construction and operation of the plant may have negative impacts on the environment, including air and water pollution, deforestation, and the loss of biodiversity. The second disadvantage I have listed here, the plant will consume significant amounts of energy and raw materials, which may put a strain on local resources and contribute to environmental degradation. Third disadvantage is land use. The plant may require a large amount of land, which could displace local communities, destroy habitats, and disrupt ecosystems. As I mentioned before, Canada has thousands of unused land preserved by nature for millions of years. The fourth one we have here is the labor dispute. The plant may be subject to labor disputes, including issues related to worker safety, wages, and working conditions. We've seen that a lot over the years when it comes to plants, manufacturing, and other sectors. Usually, they start out paying well, but as the economy turns, inflation goes up, and there are economic disadvantages, as which happened especially in the pandemic just now. A lot of plants were shut down, people lost their jobs, and now a lot of salaries are being held, are tied to what is going on locally in and around the economic situations of a lot of countries. So the fifth and final disadvantage I have listed here is the economic dependence. Plant may make the local economy overly dependent on the auto industry and vulnerable to changes in market conditions, which could lead to job losses and economic instability. We saw that with the last 2 plants that were there that were forced to shut down due to economic conditions. The cycle goes on. And I've said it over and over, and I'll continue to say it again. Auto industry is a cycle. Whether there's an economic downturn, a natural disaster, or a pandemic we just saw now, then the auto industry is one of the first to be impacted directly and severely. The loss of jobs is tremendous on a lot of families in and around depending on what they're actually in the auto industry for, because the auto industry is huge. You're talking about planes, trains, and automobile. It's not necessarily about cars, but everything else that impacts the auto industry. Recently, we saw the shortage of chips and how it impacted the manufacturing of certain cars. Now, with the EV evolution upon us, a lot of research companies are running all over the world trying to find the necessary raw materials in order to maintain the EV evolution that is forced upon us from politicians. We're not ready for it yet. I've said it time and time again. We're not ready for it. Give it another 30 to 50 years, but not less than 10 years to get these EVs up and running. I know it impacting the environment significantly. What we should be looking at is emission reduction. And I agree with some of the bigwigs out there, given the data, statistics, and the information that are used in order to justify their findings. But what can we say? Remember to grab a copy of my ebook, The Parts Manager Guide. Please smash that like button on your way out. It will only take you 1.5 seconds to do so. And also, please remember to leave your thoughts and comments below. Until next time.